Hi, my name is Carly Wardwell and I'm a certified credit counselor.
Hi, my name is Carol Court, and I'm also a certified credit counselor.
And welcome to Debt Counseling Corporation's Financial Fitness Fast Facts. In this episode, we're going to discuss how to reduce everyday expenses. I think for many of us, we become so accustomed to spending a fixed amount of money on certain items, your cell phone, your cable, your entertainment, and many times we lose sight of the fact that we can reduce these expenses if we actively find ways to do so. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over a variety of categories and discuss ways where expenses can be reduced. First, let's talk about your housing expense. If you are a homeowner, there are a variety of ways to reduce your expenses. Take a look at your existing mortgage. Perhaps you are going to be eligible to refinance your loan if your interest rate is high, and do consider the closing costs involved with a refinance, but perhaps this will reduce your mortgage payments and reduce your interest rate, which therefore will ultimately cost you less to pay back the cost of your house. Do also take a look at your homeowner's insurance policy. Many people have included their homeowner's insurance policy into their mortgage payments, so they lose sight of how much they're actually paying towards the homeowner's insurance. And rest assured, it's going to go up every single year. So be your best advocate. Look at what your policy is. Perhaps you should look at other providers and maybe they can offer comparable coverage for less money. Or maybe you want to consider bundling your insurance products. Maybe your car insurance and your homeowner's insurance can be bundled together. If you are a renter, look at your renter's insurance policy and maybe that can be bundled with your car insurance as well. One last thing I want you to consider is perhaps grieving your property taxes. If you think your home is overassessed and you're paying too much in property taxes, go down to the town, or there are services that you can pay for which will help you grieve your property taxes and see if you can get those reduced for you. There is a deadline for grieving your property taxes each year. Do check with your local town to determine when that deadline is.
The next category we want to go over are utilities. Many things are considered utilities. Let's start with your electric bill. Do consider looking at what you're doing now. So the electric that you use in your house, are you turning off the lights when you leave a room? Are you unplugging unnecessary electric items?
And think about everything that is plugged in. Your toaster oven, your cell phone charger, your alarm clock. Everything that's plugged into the wall is drawing electricity whether you're using it or not. So many people just leave it plugged in and you're paying for that. You know, I find myself unplugging my tea maker. I switch to a digital or a battery operated alarm clock to save myself a little bit of money.
And believe me, all those things really do add up. Also contact your utility company and see if there's a balanced billing plan where you can go on and have the same amount budgeted every month. That may help you adjust your budget so that you know what you're paying each month.
And what they do is they take an average of the last 12 months of what your electric usage has been, and then they just divide it equally. I know for me, it's a lot easier for me to budget that way than to deal with the spikes of an electric bill, and now I don't know how to pay for that. A lot of utility companies as well offer financial assistance programs, or they offer reduced rates if you qualify or receive certain types of services, but you don't know until you ask. So go ahead and contact your utility companies to see if they offer something like that in your area.
Also check with your cell phone and cable providers. Look at the services that you're getting now. Sometimes you will have 2 gigabytes of data plan when you don't necessarily need 2 gigabytes of data plan, and you may be able to reduce some of that bill. And the same holds true with your cable. Maybe you have a gold plan that now covers every channel that they offer when you don't necessarily look at all those channels. See if you can trim some of those services so that you can reduce some of that expense.
And even if again, the cable bill is going to consistently go up from year to year. If there are other cable providers in your area, maybe you want to look at what their services are. Do be mindful of contracts that you are signing, which can become very difficult to get out of. A lot of people also have a bundle package with their cable, telephone, cable, internet. Are you using all of those services? Perhaps you can eliminate your home phone, which may reduce your total monthly cost, and that's, again, saving you a little bit of money where you just rely on your cell phone that way. Do you have a lot of boxes that you're not utilizing? Can you eliminate some of those? Does it make more sense for you to cancel cable completely and maybe just pay for internet and use some of the subscription services like Netflix or Hulu and receive a less costly product? Just some ideas for you.
Okay. Our next category is insurance. Let's look at your auto insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Have you looked at your auto insurance provider recently to see if there are other providers out there that can give you the same comparable coverage at maybe a lesser rate? Do you have some tickets or accidents that are coming off? You do want to look at that. Also, is defensive driving an available option in your state?
Mm-hmm.
You do want to make sure that it is a credit that you would be able to have applied to your liability and your collision coverages. But the amount that it costs for a course can run between $25 to $40.
Mm-hmm.
But it is worth it because you do get 10% off of that liability and collision coverage, and that usually
breaks even in the first
in the
6 months.
Yeah.
So depending on what your coverage is. I find a lot of people are overinsured because they are having the same policy they took out when they first bought the car, and now that their car is worth less or they no longer have lease payments on it, they can reduce their coverage or reduce their premium. So do look at these things and do shop around for it. The next category is really going to be groceries, and this is where people spend a lot of money and they don't necessarily realize how much money they should be spending. Let me give you an example. For a family of one, it is estimated that they should spend about $315 on food. That includes groceries, that includes eating out, and that is a monthly estimate. For a family of four, they're estimating about $800. Where do you fall in relation to those estimates? Here's what I want to say about grocery shopping. It is easy to go, especially if you're going with your kids or another family member, and to buy things that you don't necessarily need. I think it is important to set limits before you go to the grocery store. For example, I'm going to spend $125 a week on groceries. Maybe you want to bring cash so you don't go over that amount, and there's a variety of ways to really trim costs at the grocery store. Write a list, stick to it. Don't be tempted by the sales and things of that nature. Use coupons if you have it. If you have a smartphone, you can look up a lot of coupons just on your smartphone for some costly items that way. Perhaps you want to shop and bring those scanners with you so you can monitor how much it is that you're spending. You can also bring a calculator and add up the costs as you are going across the way. Anything else you want to add to groceries?
You also want to make sure, create a menu based on what you're going to eat that week, and really try to use the items that maybe are on sale that week to create the grocery list and to create your menu. Also, do an inventory of what you have in your household.
Oh, yes.
Because sometimes you will rebuy things when you already have them in the cupboard and you don't even know. You do want to make sure that you're using all the items you have before they expire.
And a lot of people, I bet if you went to your pantry, that you could probably eat for almost a week on just things that you already have there, saving you money, but also you've already spent your hard-earned money on this. You might as well utilize the product.
The next category we have is family expenses. Listen, we all know kids are very expensive. You do need to watch what you're spending. There is daycare, there's aftercare when the kids are younger. You do want to make sure that you're looking around. You do want to get the best care for your children, but you do want to make sure that it's within your budget to do. Also, school lunches are a very big item. I know a lot of the schools now give the kids a PIN number that they can just automatically charge food all the time, and it goes through your credit card. I often find that as I review my son's charges, there are an awful lot of items on there, cookies and cake and extra items that I've sat down and actually gone over his list of what he spent in a month, so he can understand where his spending is going and how that affects the family. So it is important to get your kids involved in what they're doing and how they're spending.
Mm-hmm. The next category is going to be really your medical costs, and many of us think that there is no room for negotiation in regard to the medical costs. And in some ways you are correct. If you are paying a service provider because you don't currently have insurance, negotiate how much your monthly or how much each doctor visit is going to be. Also, ask for free samples if you're receiving medication. Many of the doctor's offices have those samples available to give. Another avenue might be if you're receiving a medication that is costly. Even if it's not costly, contact the manufacturer of the medication and ask them for coupons or discounts. You'd be very surprised to learn how many of these organizations actually offer these types of programs.
There are many. The rest of the items are kind of miscellaneous items that you may go through. Hair salon or nails. You know, listen, you can extend out your appointments a little bit longer than you have before. So if you're normally going 6 weeks, maybe extend them 8 weeks. In a few months, you've already made up one of your visits. Maybe you want to do your nails at home, do them yourself. You can try to see, you know, how you can extend and set a limit for your hair appointment.
And if your hair is fairly easy to do, you know, maybe if you're a man and you just kind of shave it each month, maybe it's cheaper for you to invest in a buzzer or something like that and do it yourself, or maybe have a family member do it for you. Another topic that can easily overspend is really clothes shopping, and it's not just clothes. It's not just clothes. It's not just tops. It's not just shoes. It's also jackets and undergarments and little things that you don't necessarily include in your budget. Take a look back and look at your spending over the past 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Look at it for yourself. Look at it for your family, and determine what that amount is. Are you shopping because it's your hobby? Are you shopping because you need it? Or how can you be more cost effective in your shopping? Can you go to thrift stores? Are you only buying on sale or clearance items? Are you buying online, which may be cheaper? Are you using coupons? Especially, I'll go back to the smartphone. A lot of stores offer coupons for clothes, and it's to entice you into the store. Open up your telephone, search for the coupons every time you're waiting online, but also don't fall into the trick where I've got a coupon, so I need to buy this much money in order to I need to spend this much money in order to receive the discount. It is so important. This is where a lot of people lose money. Set limits. I'm only going to spend X amount of dollars each week, X amount of dollars each month, year, and limit what you're doing on clothes shopping.
The gym is also an item where people tend to overspend, or they join a gym, decide, you know, after a month or so that they're probably not going to continue. You may want to look at the no contract plans, even though they may be a little bit more each month. In the overall outlook of it, it may end up costing you less.
Also, if you're not going, cancel it.
Cancel it.
And it sounds so simple, but a lot of people are like, oh, I intend to go. If you're not actually doing it, even at $10 a month, it is too much.
It certainly does add up.
Another category which falls into the miscellaneous is eating out. When I ask a lot of my clients how much money they spend eating out, everyone always responds $5 a day, $10 a day, and it's always more than that. Unfortunately, we can't find a place to go and only spend $5. So this is a category where people typically tend to overspend, and they typically underestimate how much it is that they are spending. Again, set a limit for yourself. I'm only going to go out to eat once a week for lunch, once a week for dinner, and here is my budget. $10 for lunch, $20 for dinner, and then stick within the confines of that budget.
And that is basically our tips for savings and for trying to cut down on your expenses.
Choose one category each week where you're going to address each of your expenses. Maybe this week you want to tackle the utilities. Next week maybe you want to tackle the miscellaneous expenses. Set a goal for yourself and stick to it. Again, if you have any questions or concerns or would like help creating a budget or finding areas where you can reduce expenses, we are more than happy to help you. Give us a call at 631-582-4300 and we'd be happy to help you. Happy budgeting.
Happy budgeting.